A federal Labor MP says the failure to provide details around the voice to Parliament is creating confusion in remote Aboriginal communities. Marion Scrymgour has questioned whether the government should have developed more detail about the structure of the voice before going to a referendum.
They are the questions that have been dogging the campaign for an Indigenous voice to Parliament. Where will the voice be based? Who will be on it? And how will they be selected?
I think that some of the details should have been out there. I mean, a lot of us have been doing word of mouth and talking, but you can only stretch, a piece of string so far.
As support for the voice drops sharply in the polls, Labor MP Marion Scrymgour believes a failure to provide details may be hurting the cause.
I think that in hindsight, maybe there should have been more detail put out and particularly in remote Aboriginal communities, people need the detail. They want to know what it is.
A detailed model for the voice was provided in the report prepared by academics Marcia Langton and Tom Karma. It proposed dozens of regional and local voices feeding into a national voice of 24 representatives. There would be 2 from each state and territory, and extra members to represent remote areas. The government hasn't adopted this model, saying instead the details will be developed after the referendum.
I think a lot of the stories and people that are coming up to me feel that the detail hasn't been there, and I've talked them through what I know.
Speaking to Sky News at Warramyunga on the Tiwi Islands, Ms Scrymgour says people want to know how the voice will help improve their lives.
People are fearful that their voice on the ground here in Warramyunga, is that going to be heard? How are they going to change the status quo that's here in this community?
It's a different story in South Australia, which will elect a legislated voice next year.
We'll have elections on March 16th next year, where South Australia will be divided into 6 regions. Each of those regions will elect a local voice, then there'll be 2 representatives of each of those 6 local voices that will form the statewide voice.
And how will you determine who gets to vote in an election for the voice?
Yeah, it'll be open to any Aboriginal person who's on the electoral roll in South Australia.
Will the federal government's failure to answer these same questions spell defeat for the referendum? That will be determined on October 14. Matt Cunningham, Sky News.